Hi folks, it's John and Darren here with that Tassie Wargamer. It's been a while since I've done a video. We had a brilliant game last week and didn't document it with the video, so I'm thinking today I might just give you a quick rundown. We've set up the table here. Obviously it's Sudan, there's the Nile, we've got a small river leading to it. We've got a compound and a river crossing, and sort of the compound comes over this side too. Now, normally we've been playing very asymmetric of British versus Sudanese. However, today we've got Major Hobart with his small contingent of British sailors who've gone troppo, and they've decided to establish their own sultanate here on the banks of the Nile, with the help of some of the local Mahdist forces. They've decided they're going to take over here and they're going to, collect the duties that are rightfully belonging to Queen Victoria. And John's forces, and we totally set up the table prior to knowing who was who. So it's totally just, for the narrative, and then we roll to see who was doing what. John's forces here. This is it. It's going to be a small game, but hopefully a lot of fun. Yeah. They're coming to do the Queen's work.
Teach him a lesson.
And establish the rule of Victoria in good old British Sudan. So you won't get a play-by-play here, but hopefully a general rundown to see hopefully if it works. We've got a few, obviously everything was in place, and a few of the wagons, because he obviously knew the British were coming, a few of the wagons have been put in some places just to add a little bit of resistance. And we'll let you know how it goes. So I've just started the third round. We had a reasonable first one, very short second one, so we're into the third. I've got my regulars moving from the deployment. I managed to get my Mahdi's across the river, my skirmishers quite early. John's cavalry are on the move, and his single Sikh unit there as well. Obviously they're reacting to my guys crossing, realising that they're going to have to head out and conserve the flanks there. That's about it so far, but yeah, I've still got only one small group of skirmishers to come on. John has still got a pretty good looking formation there. So we've both basically got very equal forces. We found out in discussion that John's are veterans, so they're elite, and likewise my runaway group, or my pirate group basically, of British are also elite. So it'll be interesting to see as they face off. John's leader 1 has just come up, so while he's making some tactical decisions, I thought I'd take you through. We're on to about turn 5. John's Sikhs are here. I brought my 2 units of skirmishers out to try to harass John's flank, sort of protect my own. However, John's lancers end up attacking, pushing me back a little bit. These guys here put some fire onto John's John's Sikhs. However, they've got fouling pieces and they're poor shots, so I'm having real trouble doing anything productive with them. John's main force of veterans is crossing the river. My force is keeping their powder dry here, and I managed to get some skirmishers out over there. So it's a small bunch of, not many units on the table, but it gives us plenty of room to move. That cavalry is doing its trick, I think, with getting John's flanks cleaned up. It's a good game so far. We're getting quite short turns. Tiffin. As you can see, we're using the infantry cards. We used to use the chips. I had the chips for sharp practice. We prefer the cards. I just haven't got around to ordering any cards for sharp practice, so we use the infamy. So yeah, this is Tiffin has come out. My 2 units of skirmishers have been wiped out. John put some really good fire on them using his Sikhs, and his cavalry just did an amazing job. They charged twice. First time, I think I might have said they put a fair bit of damage. The second time I chose to evade. However, I didn't evade far enough, and John followed up and wiped them out. Actually, sorry, one of the guys ended up running away. He's over here. My main formation has kept their powder dry. They're still presented. I had a single unit of skirmishers that I had over near the wagon, who I managed to sneak over run across. They snuck over the wall, and they managed to put some flanking fire into John's big formation of veterans here. No kills, but I managed to put 3 shocks per unit, which could be the difference when they come to trading fire with the other veteran unit. Great game, small force, but enjoyable. Lost track of what turn this is, but we've had plenty of short turns. Short turns. John's cavalry are crossing the river. They're coming to harass. Well, really all John has to do now is take that point. I think, yeah, to win. I've got the remnants of my my skirmishers here. My main formation have now moved up and quickly formed up. Imagine there's a lot of smoke around the battlefield, and they've come up and managed to get into a line facing into John's guys here, who have taken a lot of shock, and with enough there to also, if they need to, face off with John's 6 as well. Hopefully over in a couple more turns with a bit of luck. Well, we're getting towards the end of the game. I'm actually down to 2 force morale, not likely to last. Knowing that, I entered my formation into fisticuffs. They charged into fisticuffs in with John's. We both ended up losing. We had 5 kills. One of them was my officer, who has luckily only been wounded, although I lost force morale for him. John's unit ended up with more. They end up with excess shock, so they've now retired. Being elite, he could have decided how far back, up to 4 inches, they could retire. So they've retired to be in support, which is a smart move. Because I didn't have any excess, I didn't have that option. So now I've got that little unit there with my officer that are now still, unfortunately, still at the front. I think it's going to end very shortly. It's been a great game. John's cavalry, although they attacked early, haven't really had much to do. Obviously now all he needs to do is come in and clean up the remnants of these 2 units, and he'll no doubt win the game, or really he just has to take my deployment point to win the game, and it'll be well deserved when he does. And the game has come to an end with a gentleman's handshake. I got down to 1, but John's 6 had jumped the wall. They started putting a bit of fire into my flank. Actually, we should double the shock when they got that from there. My officer was being dragged away by the last of that unit. These 2 units were down to nothing. I've actually removed the shock, but there's a lot of shock on this unit here. John's cavalry were coming around. I managed to do a fair bit of damage. Again, I've already removed the shock markers, but there was a fair bit of shock on John's unit here. His one unit had been forced back across the river. The other one had been forced back a little bit. He started taking some damage to his force morale, but John ended up on 8 while I ended up on 1. So it was never going to last. It was a great game, great table. Again, what we've noticed recently is the bigger the footprint that buildings have on the table, the more fun we have. I think if you think about it, this really is small scale skirmish warfare. If you've only got a small little building one corner of the table, it becomes inconsequential. But having this, where it really felt like we were fighting through a village, worked really well. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll hopefully knock out some more videos soon. Especially I want to put a video specific about using the table to maximum effect with the terrain. See you soon. Thanks for watching.